You're a horrible daughter. My mom's voice exploded through the phone, cutting into the quiet of my apartment. I froze for a second, gripping the phone tighter in my hand. What are you even talking about? I asked, confused. You know what I'm talking about, she snapped. After everything I've done for you, you couldn't even put me in first class for this trip. What kind of child treats their mother like that? I leaned against the kitchen counter, trying to stay calm. Mom, I paid for your entire trip, I said slowly. The flights, the hotel, the tours, everything. I planned every detail. Do you know how much time and money that took? She scoffed like none of it mattered. And yet you couldn't do this one thing to make it special? Honestly, Kristen, I don't know what's wrong with you. Your sister would have done it without even being asked. That was it, the thing she always did, bring up my sister, Danielle, the golden child, the favorite, the one who never seemed to have to try. My name is Kristen. I've always been the dependable one, the straight-A student, the responsible adult with a steady job in marketing. I saved money, paid bills on time, planned ahead, but no matter what I did, it was never good enough for my mom. This trip to Europe was supposed to be a gift, a way to say, look, Mom, I care, I want us to have something special together. I thought maybe, just maybe, it would bring us closer. But now all she could talk about was not getting a first-class seat. Mom, I said softly, forcing the lump in my throat down, I thought you'd be happy. You're getting a beautiful trip with everything planned out for you. Not in coach. I'm not, she snapped. That was enough. I ended the call before I said something I'd regret. Later that day, I dropped her off at the airport. She got out of the car without looking back. Maybe if you ever grow up, she said over her shoulder, you'll figure out how to treat people properly. Then she walked away. The drive home was quiet, but my mind wasn't. Her words echoed in my head, over and over. Maybe if you ever grow up. When I got back to my apartment, I dropped my bag and sat on the couch. I stared at the wall, trying not to cry. I wasn't going to cry over this, not again. I had worked so hard to make this trip happen. I skipped vacations, said no to dinners with friends, and picked up freelance work just to save enough. I planned every little detail to make sure she'd have the time of her life. And still, somehow, it wasn't enough. All she could see was what I didn't do. It wasn't the first time, it was always like this. When I got a promotion, she'd say Danielle could have done it faster. When I bought my first car, she asked why it wasn't new. Danielle didn't have a job, she didn't help with bills, but she was charming and easygoing, so my mom adored her. But this trip was supposed to be different. It was supposed to show her that I cared, that I tried. And instead, she called me selfish. I opened my laptop and looked at the booking confirmation. The return flight was still there, 2 tickets, economy class, one to get her there, one to bring her back. My eyes drifted to the small blue button, Manage Booking. I hovered over it. I could cancel just the return flight, no extra cost, no hassle. She'd still get her dream trip, but getting home, that would be up to her. At first, I hesitated. Was this petty? Was it cruel? But then her voice echoed in my mind again, you're selfish. You're embarrassing. And just like that, I clicked. The screen refreshed. A new email hit my inbox. Her return flight was officially cancelled. For the first time in years, I felt like I had some control. Days passed. I didn't hear from her, not a single call or text. But I didn't need one. She was posting non-stop on social media. Selfies in front of the Eiffel Tower, pictures of her food, fancy French dinners and perfect desserts. Captions like living my best life, and what a dream. She didn't tag me after the first post, but it was obvious she wanted everyone to know how amazing her trip was. I rolled my eyes every time I saw her name pop up. I wasn't angry anymore, honestly, I felt numb. I had given her a gift, and she turned it into another way to tear me down. I was done. By the 4th day, she posted a video from a dinner cruise, dressed up, smiling, glass of champagne in hand. This is the trip of a lifetime, she said to the camera. I couldn't help but smile, not at her happiness, but at what was coming next. She had no idea. That night, I got a message from Danielle. Danielle, Mom's been texting me all day about how great the trip is. She said you helped her plan everything. I stared at the message for a minute. Danielle had no idea what was coming. She didn't know about the return flight. She didn't know about the years of being ignored, dismissed, and constantly compared. Me, glad she's enjoying herself. That was all I said, and it was true. I hoped she was enjoying herself. Because soon, it was going to hit her. Her trip would end, she'd pack her bags, she'd head to the airport, hand over her ticket, and the airline would tell her there was no flight booked. And in that moment, when the airport wasn't the gateway home, but a dead end, I wondered if she'd finally realize that her words have consequences. For once, she'd have to solve her own problem. And maybe, just maybe, she'd finally understand how much her attitude had cost her. Not money. Not comfort. But me. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Voicemail after voicemail. Just leave me here like this? One screamed. Do you know how humiliating this is? I'm at the airport trying to explain to the staff why my flight doesn't exist, and they're looking at me like I'm crazy. Another one came right after, her voice full of whiny frustration. How could you do this to me? What would people think if they knew you abandoned your own mother in Europe? I sat on the couch, my phone in my hand, just staring at the screen. The messages kept piling up, but they didn't hit the same anymore. It wasn't like before, when her words could crush me. Now, they felt like noise, loud, messy noise from someone desperate to pull the strings again. By late afternoon, her tone changed. The anger turned into something softer, her calls slowed down, and the texts turned pleading. Kristen, I'm sorry for what I said, I didn't mean it, please just help me get home. Do you want me to beg? Fine, I'm begging, I can't afford a new ticket and I don't know what to do. I stared at those words, part of me wanted to believe her, wanted to think this was a real apology. But I'd been down this road before, many times. The tears, the guilt trips, the emotional yo-yos, it was always the same game. Still, something tugged at me. She's your mom, a small voice whispered. She raised you, she did her best, didn't she? But then I remembered the airport. Her face twisted in frustration. That sharp tone. Maybe if you ever grow up, you'll figure out how to treat people properly. And just like that, the guilt faded. By evening, her messages hit a new level of desperation. Kristen, I'm sleeping on a bench at the airport, I have no way to get home and I can't stay here, please, I'm begging you. For a second, I almost picked up the phone. Almost. But then I reminded myself why I had done this in the first place. It wasn't about being petty. It was about years, of feeling like I was never enough. No matter how much I gave, how hard I tried, how much I sacrificed, she always found a way to make me feel small. If I helped her now, she'd just go back to being the same. I needed her to feel this, to understand. So instead, I picked up my phone and sent a message to my sister. Mom's having trouble getting home. If you want to help her, feel free, I'm done. Danielle called immediately. What is going on? She asked, her voice somewhere between annoyed and confused. Mom says you canceled her flight. I did, I said, calm as ever. She treated me like garbage after I planned and paid for everything. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done playing the good daughter while she tears me down. Danielle sighed. I get it, but don't you think this is kind of extreme? No, I said firmly, I think it's exactly what needed to happen. The next day was quiet, no messages, no calls, nothing. I started to wonder if maybe Danielle had stepped in, maybe she bought her a ticket, or maybe my mom figured it out on her own. Either way, I wasn't going to chase after it. But then, just before lunch, my phone lit up again. One text, short, different. Kristen, I don't know what else to say. I know I've hurt you, and I know I've been unfair. I just want to come home, please. I sat there reading those words again and again. This one felt different. There was no blame, no whining, no manipulation. Just raw, simple honesty. Still, I didn't know if I could trust it. I'd been burned too many times before. But then I thought about everything I had gone through, years of trying to win her approval, all the things I had done to make her proud, and how it never seemed to be enough. This wasn't about her anymore. It was about me, about protecting myself. So I typed back. Mom, I'll book you a flight home, but this is the last time I'm doing something like this for you. If you can't start treating me with respect, don't expect me to keep bending over backward. She replied quickly. Thank you, I'll do better, I promise. I didn't know if I believed her. But I booked the ticket anyway. Not for her, for me. I needed to close this chapter on my terms. When I sent her the flight info, she messaged again. Thank you so much, Kristen, I mean it this time. For the first time, I didn't feel resentment or anger. I felt calm, solid. I had set the boundary I needed to set, I had stood up for myself. A couple days later, I drove to the airport to pick her up. I could have let her take a cab, but something inside me needed to be there, to see it, to feel it. Maybe it was for closure. Maybe I just needed to look her in the eye and know I'd done the right thing. When she walked through the arrivals gate, she looked different. Not angry, not smug. Just tired, quiet. She held her small carry-on like it weighed 100 pounds, and when her eyes met mine, she didn't speak right away. Hi, Mom, I said. Hi, she replied softly, almost like she didn't know how to begin. We got in the car. The drive was silent at first. Then, about 20 minutes in, she finally spoke. Kristen. I owe you an apology. I glanced at her, surprised. Her voice wasn't defensive, it wasn't forced, it felt real. For what? I asked, trying to stay neutral. For the way I've treated you, she said. You didn't deserve it, you've always done so much for me, and I never really saw it. I'm sorry. For a second, I didn't know what to say. All the years I had waited to hear those words, now that they were finally here, I didn't know how to feel. Thank you, I said at last, that means a lot. She nodded. That trip made me realize how much you've carried over the years. When I was stranded at that airport, all I could think about was how many times you stepped up for me, even when I was being awful, and I realized, maybe I needed that moment, to see what it feels like to be alone. I didn't respond right away. Part of me still didn't fully trust it. But another part of me felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, peace. When we pulled up to her house, she paused before getting out. Thank you, she said again, for everything, for the trip, for the flight home, for putting up with me all these years. I know I made it hard. I nodded. You're welcome, but from now on, it's going to be different. I'm not going to let you treat me the way you used to. If you want to be in my life, it has to be on equal terms. She gave me a small, tired smile. Fair enough. As I drove away, I felt like something inside me had finally settled. Maybe she would change. Maybe she wouldn't. But I had. And that made all the difference.